What's going on, guys? It's Night Dog! Today, we will be going over the update to the Warden Healer Build for ESO Flames of Ambition patch. This build has been one of my most consistent builds, still, with a lot of the same setups, just minor tweaks here and there to the build. There was a lot of changes in this patch compared to the previous patch.
What's he doing, Precious? What's he doing? You stupid Zenimax, you ruined everything!
Well, do not panic. This build did not get nerfed from Zenimax. In fact, the build did get stronger in this patch. I will be going over the stats, skills, passives, gear I am running, and champion points. All this is coming up next. So, starting off in our character sheet. Max Magicka is sitting at 33,900, almost close to 34k. Max Health is sitting at 22,900, with Max Stam at 13,700. Magicka Recovery is at 1,700, Health Recovery at 477, Stam Recovery at 691 on the front bar. If we go over to back bar, Magicka Recovery goes up to 1,800. Now, if we also buff up our guy a little bit, on our back bar, Magicka Recovery goes up to 2,500, with Health Recovery still at 477, Stam Recovery at 870, and Health actually goes up to 25,000. If we go on our front bar here, Magicka Recovery is at 2,300. Now, staying on our front bar, our spell damage can actually go up quite a bit when we buff up our guy here. So starting on our front bar, our spell damage is at 4,000, with a spell critical at 33.6%, with spell penetration sitting at 5k. Weapon damage at, if we buff our guy again, on front bar is sitting at 33,000, still weapon critical at 11.7%, physical penetration at 305. Even though this is a Magicka build, we do not really need to worry about our weapon damage there. But if we do go over to the back bar, our spell damage is sitting at 3,700, still at 33.5% critical chance on there. Now if we go over to resistance on our front bar, our spell resistance is sitting at 23,700, physical resistance at 14,700, and then on our back bar, our resistance is sitting at 24,200, with physical resistance at 15,200. So this can be a quite very tanky aspect, especially against spell resistance on our front bar on this build. For attributes, we have 64 points into Magicka, because Magicka is the main thing we are looking for when we want to build a healer build. The more Magicka we have, the stronger our heals will be. So on this build, we have quite a bit of magic, and our health is still sitting very well nicely due to this patch update. We actually end up getting a little bit more health, along with Stam, and Magicka even raised passives as well. We actually did get a bonus to Stam. We'll be going that in the passives later on that. For Mundustone on this one, we are running the ritual on this one just to increase our healing done by 12%, because I feel like a good healer needs to have really strong heals, and this build does not lack in that. I have hit up to 28k on the build for a single target heal, basically an AoE heal on a full health target. That can go a lot higher depending on certain circumstances, but we'll get into that later. Now, going over into our skills, we want to make sure to start on our front bar here. So, first ability we have is down into the green balance skill line. It is the second ability to unlock, starts off as Healing Seed. We then morph it to Budding Seed. This has a 28 meter range that we can cast this out at, with a 8 meter radius around it, lasting for 6 seconds. We summon a Field of Flower for 6 seconds to heal us and our allies in the area for 15,400 health. That is a lot of health there, especially for an AoE healed over the 6 seconds. The thing is, while the field is growing, us and our allies in the area gain 1,800 health for every 1 second. On top of it, here it says we can activate the ability again to cast an initial bloom. So what that means is we can cast this ability. So there's our 8-meter circle, everything within that circle there with the Field of Flower. So basically what it means is we can cast it and then hit the button again, and boom, there's an instant heal. On top of it, this is also a synergy called Harvest. Allies can activate this to heal themselves for 16,600 health over 5 seconds. So quite a bit of health going into it. And this is based off of our max health because I just popped this healing on me. So if I buff myself up with health, the stronger this will be. So next ability we have is over into the Restoration Staff skill line. It is the first ability to unlock, starts off as Grand Healing. We then morph it to Illustrious Heals. This also has a 20-meter radius or range to cast out with an 8-meter radius. This one lasts for 12 seconds though, so double the time of budding seeds. So we send out an AoE heal for us and our allies in the target area for 2,700 health, and then an additional 2,700 health every 1 second for the 12-second duration. So what I typically like to do with this ability here, since it is the same size as our budding seeds here, I typically like to cast it on the same thing, so that way we are basically double healing everybody within it. We're getting 2 different ticks, one from our budding seeds and one from our illness healing. Next skill we have is still in the Restoration skill line. It is the second ability to unlock, starts off as Regeneration. We then morph it to Radiating Regeneration. This also is a 20-meter range of casting, and this lasts for 10 seconds. This is giving our life staff healing energy, healing us and up to 3 nearby allies for 28,600 health over the 10 seconds. So a lot of healing that targets several people. So what it means for the 3 nearby allies, it can be you and 2 other targets, or it can be 3 other targets. Is basically what this means. So yes, you can use this in a 12-man group. You're just not going to hit everyone with it. This works a lot better in 4-man groups because you're going to hit, for sure, 2 of your allies out of this, basically, is what you're going to hit, for sure. I would show you it. Basically, you're going to see it like so. But you're going to see strings kind of coming out of the staff. That's what you're going to want to look for when you're casting that. Over into the next ability we have is down into the Undaunted skill line. It is the 5th ability to unlock, starts off as Necrit Orb. We then morph it to Energy Orb. This is an 8-meter radius globe that ends up floating for 10 seconds. It'll slowly float forward, healing us and allies within the target range for 1,500 health every half second. On top of it, an ally near the globe can activate a healing combustion synergy, causing the orb to explode and heal them for 9,600 health to all friendly targets and restore 3,900 magicka or stam to an ally. This is based on whichever resource is their highest. So if they have a lot of magicka, they will get magicka back. If they got more stam, then they'll get stam back. So the nice thing about this is the same radius when we cast this orb. This is the same range as our budding seeds, so the range of that is what this orb will hit, along with our illustrious springs. So a really nice ability, especially for the amount of healing you can do with it, and all that stacking that we're doing right there. Top of it, resource and synergies. Now we have 2 abilities that we can now stack within these circles here that will end up giving synergies back to allies. So a ton of resources are getting back to them. Next skill we have is up into the Restoration Staff skill line. It is the 3rd ability to unlock, starts off as a Blessing of Protection. We then morph it to Combat Prayer. This is an area of 28 by 8 meter range, so it's 20 meters out by 8 meters wide and lasting for 8 seconds. We heal us and our allies in front of us for 8,500 health. However, this is not the main reason why we use it. The main reason why we use it is also we grant them minor berserk and minor resolve, increasing us and our allies damage done by 5%. That's what minor berserk does. And then minor resolve is increase the physical resistance and spell resistance by 2,900 for the 8 seconds. So we're giving everybody a little bit more tankier by doing this, giving everybody a little bit more resistance buffs. On top of it too, we're making everybody hit a little bit harder as well for 8 seconds. And you'll usually typically see this as a red AoE thing like so. So we can actually sit there, stack this, that, and everything in there will give all that healing for that time. Or the little quick cast of heal from combat prayer, I should say. Now, for the ultimate on this ability, we are up into the green balance skill line. It starts off as secluded grove. We then morph it to enchanted forest. This also is a 28 meter cast area with a 8 meter radius and lasts for 6 seconds, kind of like our budding seeds, for a low cost of 90 ultimate. Very nice to have that nice low cost ulti that does heal. Now, this initial heal is the most injure friendly target when we cast it for 12,700 health, and then the forest continues to heal us and our allies in the area for 4,500 health every 1 second for the 6 seconds. So, like I said, we are stacking a lot of things on this build. We'll stack this with this, top of our orb, and then our big forest enchanted growth all on top of it. We are getting a ton of healing going on there. This is typically what I like to do on the build, is stack a lot of our AoE effects, because we have a ton of AoE effects. We're going to stack a ton of them to get more production out of the heals. We do, however, have very high single target cast abilities, like budding seeds here. If we buff up our guide properly here, and if I can get a crit off of this, we'll see if I can get a crit. 28,306 was our crit heal off of it. Right there, we did it again. So, very high potential heal there on just that alone from that. So, it's not just AoEs that are strong by stacking them. We have that pull from budding seeds that we can make up to 28,306. Going back over into the ultimate, because we did not finish, there was more to it. We also generate 20 ultimate if the initial heal is used on a friendly target who's under 50% health. So, your first target that you heal, if they are under 50% health, you will get 20 ultimate back. It's not everybody within the area. It's the first person you heal that's under 50% health. You will get 20 ultimate back, so you basically get about a quarter of your ulti back to cast this again. Really strong passive there, or thing to have on the build. This is why I tend to run this part on this. Now, if we go over to our back bar, starting off with our first ability is in the green balance skill line. It is the fourth ability to unlock, starts off as Lotus Flower. We then morph it to Lotus Bloom. This also is a 20 meter radius that lasts for 20 seconds. This embraces the Lotus, causing our light attacks to restore 1,800 health, and our fully charged heavy attacks to restore 5,600 health to us or a nearby ally for 20 seconds. So this is an area of effect type ability that will end up healing us as we light attack or heavy attack either us or a nearby ally. The main reason we actually run this though is because the additive bonus here, we gain Major Prophecy, increasing our spell critical rating by 2,600 for 20 seconds. This is what's going to help us actually have really strong heals, as I was showing, demonstrating earlier with the 28,000 crit heal. This allows us to get more crit chance out of this. That's why the build is sitting at 33% chance. Next ability we have is down into our Destruction Staff. Yes, we are running a Destruction Staff on our back bar here. It is the second ability to unlock, starts off as Wall of Elements. We then morph it to Elemental Blockade. This is a 18 by 12 meter area that lasts for 14 seconds. We create an elemental barrier in front of us that deals 877 magic damage to enemies in target area every 1 second. Yes, we're not really much of a DPS, however, there is several reasons why we end up casting this. One, we end up doing a little bit of damage. The more damage we can kind of help with the group to the DPS as a tank or healer support class, the faster fights will end up going. Yes, it's not going to be a whopping like 30k DPS to really help out the DPS to be like a third DPS, but still every little bit does help, so we still want to apply some damage on the build. Also, since we are using a Frost Staff on the build, Blockade of Frost deals less damage but grants damage shields and immobilize chilled enemies. So any enemy that gets chilled will be immobilized, so we kind of hold them in place, making it a lot easier to help the tank out for grouping up adds. On top of it, everybody gets a nice little damage shield, which also is a really nice thing to help out with that as well. Kind of playing the protector here a little bit too, as a tank would. Now, going over into the next ability we have is back up into the green balance skill line. First ability to unlock starts off as fungal growth. We then morph it to enchanted growth. This is a cone target. So what they mean from a cone is starting from where you're standing, going out in a pie shape. Out to 28 meters, that's where it will reach out to. You will end up healing us and our allies for 9,400 health in that area. Now, the main reason I actually like to run this is actually for the big buff it actually does. Any targets healed in that area gain minor intelligence, or minor intellect, and minor endurance, increasing their magicka and stam recovery by 15% for 20 seconds. So we're increasing everybody now with buffing with magicka or stam based on, you know, this ability. So you're going to help out your magicka DPS keep their magicka up. You're going to help your stam DPS keep their recovery up, along with your tank. You're going to help him keep his stam and magicka in check as well with this applied. Because when you pop a potion, those are major effects. So those majors will actually stack with these minor effects. Really powerful ability here. Really get this ability here. Next ability we have is up into the Winter's Embrace skill line. It is the first ability to unlock, starts off as Frost Cloak. We then morph it to Expansive Frost Cloak. This is a 28 meter radius that lasts for 20 seconds. Now the main thing this does is conjures ice around us for us and our allies. The ice grants major resolve, increasing our physical and spell resistance by 5,900 for 20 seconds. Yes, I know the tank may have this, but this also will apply to group members. Now, if you are running with another warden, especially like say a tank, you might want to figure out who's going to run this Expansive Frost Cloak, because I know on my tank build I end up running this as well to kind of play protector as a tank. So if you are running my tank build, you will need to figure out what you want to do. A very good choice to switch for this one would be down in your skill line, down in support here. With the second ability to unlock, starts off as Purge, we then morph it to Cleanse, because as a Warden, we do not have a Cleanse like a Templar healer does. So we will need to find our Cleanse somewhere else, so this is where we find our Cleanse. This will cleanse ourselves and groups members within an 18 meter radius, removing 3 negative effects immediately. Now the nice thing about this is for every negative effect removed, the target is healed for 6% of their max health. So if we remove 3, they get 6% of their max health per negative effect. So very powerful cleanse there, and you will need this in like certain dungeons and in trials, so I highly recommend getting this. Yes, the cost is quite high with 7,000 magicka, but we do have a really nice recovery, so this does not become a problem whatsoever. Now, for our last ability we have on this bar is up into the Animal Companion skill line. It is the fourth ability to unlock, starts off as Betty Netch. We then morph it to Blue Betty. This is on us for 25 seconds. As you can see, it does not cost any resources to cast it. We can cast it as much as we like to. However, I would say let the Betty run for its 25 or 24 second duration, because we restore 4,900 magicka to us over the 25 seconds. So what that means is you take, basically, we're going to just round up and say 5,000 magicka over 25 seconds. So every 5 seconds we are roughly getting 1,000 magicka back. Yes, not a lot, but we do have really good recovery at sitting at 2,500 when we are buffed up. But the main reason we want to keep this on our bar and not say switch this for Purge is because we gain Major Brutality and Sorcery, increasing our weapon and spell damage by 20%. Now, for a healer, that may not seem a lot, but actually increasing our spell damage on a healer makes our heals actually a little bit stronger. On top of it, too, is we actually have a Frost Staff, so by us dealing damage, this is going to actually help us deal a little bit more damage as well. Nice thing about this net, too, is for every 5 seconds, the net removes 1 negative effect from us. So, like I said earlier, with that cleanse, that is for group members. This one, however, will work for us. So this is our self-cleanse that we have on our build. Still highly recommend get Purge, get Cleanse. Still going to need it for some good trials out there that have a lot of poison and other negative effects that get applied to the group out there. Now for the ultimate on this one, we are all the way down into the Assault skill line. It starts off as Warhorn, we then morph it to Aggressive Warhorn. This is a 20-meter radius that it will hit us and group members, lasting for 30 seconds. This increases our group's max magicka and max stam by 10% for 30 seconds. This is a nice little buff that we get. However, this is not the main reason why we run it. The main reason why we run it is for us and our allies gain Major Force, increasing our critical damage done by 20% for 10 seconds. So you can increase everybody's damage done by a significant amount if they can hit crit. If they can't hit crit, then this doesn't really help them. And if you know that your group is not going to hit crit, then my next suggestion for an ultimate would then be all the way up into the Winter's Embrace skill line. You have Sleet Storm here. You can either morph it to Northern Storm or Permafrost. Either or morph would work. North Storm just increases your max magicka after activation. So this will also reduce the movement speed of any enemies within your Sleet Storm ability, or Northern Storm I should say, and increases your max magicka by 9% for 30 seconds. Yes, you already got a lot of magicka, but you can get more magicka to have a little bit stronger heals because you now have more magicka. On top of it, you and nearby allies gain Major Protection, reducing our damage taken by 10%. So as a healer, you can play a little bit as Protector as well. Now with the Permafrost one, this one just increases snare potency and applies the chill status effect to enemies hit, but at the expense of damage done, increasing the duration as the ability ranks up. So we reduce the enemy's movement speed by 70% on this one, so a lot stronger, reducing their movement speed. But we also still get Major Protection, reducing damage taken by 10%. So, like I said, either or morph works. The choices there are yours on which one you like. If you want something that lasts a little bit longer and actually can apply the chill status effect a little bit easier, by all means, then go Permafrost. If you want a little bit more magicka for 8 seconds, then go Northern Storm in something that's going to hit a little bit harder. Now, skills I have on my bar are set up the way that I like it. You guys can switch them, change them around, put them in other positions. Like you could put Lotus Blossom actually as your right bumper. You could put your Blue Betty Netch as your left bumper. Choices there are yours. This is the way I just like it and prefer. But there are reasons why I actually have the skills placed where I do. So that reason will come up actually here in passives. We're going to start in the Animal Companion skill line first. First passive we have is Bond with Nature. Anytime one of your Animal Companion skill ends, you are healed for 1,700 health. So basically this is talking about our Blue Betty here. Whenever we summon another one, we get 1,747 health. And it can crit, as you can see there. It did just crit heal. So this is kind of like our free heal that actually costs no magicka, stam, or health to cast. So a really nice passive to have, and really nice to have an ability that we can do with that. Next passive we have is when an Animal Companion ability. When we cast an Animal Companion ability while we are in combat, we generate 4 ultimate. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. Yes, we can keep spamming our Blue Betty every 8 seconds. However, like I said, if you want to get some magicka return, we are going to want to keep this on because we only get so much magicka over the 25-second duration. It's not, we get 4,900 magicka every second. So leave the duration on. Yes, if you want to get some nice easy ultimate, this is the way to get nice easy ultimate. Flourish, increase our magicka and stam recovery by 12% if an animal companion ability is slotted. We do have it on this bar, however, we do not have it on our front bar. That is why our recovery is a lot higher on our back bar than on our front bar. And again, our back bar is our buffer, so that's why we want to make sure our recovery is a lot higher, because we are going to be buffing everybody on this bar. Next passive we have is Advanced Species. Increase the damage done by 2% for each animal companion ability slot that we have. Like I said just a little bit ago, we have Blue Betty here, and we have none here, so we get a 2% bonus on our back bar. Over to the green balance skill line, we have Accelerated Growth. When we heal ourselves or an ally under 40% health with a green balance ability, we gain Major Mending, increasing our healing done by 16% for 3 seconds. So, our 28k crit heal can actually be a lot stronger if we actually end up healing an ally who is under 40% health and then popping that immediately after it within the 3 seconds. Nature's Gift. When we heal an ally with a green balance ability, we gain 250 magicka or stam, whichever resource pool is lower. This effect can occur once every second. Most likely for us, it's going to be stam because we have an enormous magicka pool instead of a stam pool, so we are just going to get probably stam back instead of magicka. Emerald Moss. Increases the healing done with green balance abilities by 2% for each green balance ability slotted. On our back bar, we have 4%, and on our front bar, we have 4%. So, just in case if you're not good with timing, the reason I end up setting my bars up like this is so that no matter what bar you are on, you will still get your 4% healing done. However, with traits I have on my resto staff, you will have stronger heals on your front bar than on your back bar. So just be aware of that as I go over traits on that. Next passive we have, when we activate a heal on ourselves or an ally, we grant the target minor toughness, increasing their max health by 10% for 20 seconds. So, this is why it's very important as a Warden Healer, you keep casting out heals, because as you keep casting out heals, you are making sure everybody's max health is going to be a lot stronger. So that is why we can actually see my health go from 22.9k down below up to 25.1k health. Is because we have a green balance skill. Or whenever we heal. We do not have to have a green balance skill. That is my fault on that. Whenever we activate a heal on ourselves or an ally. Really strong passives. Highly recommend getting it and make sure you get that. Now over into the Winter's Embrace one. We have Glacier Presence. Increase the chance to apply this shield to enemies with Winter's Embrace abilities by 200%. So with any Winter's Embrace abilities, this is what is going to apply the chill status effect. However, we do not have any here unless we want to go Impaling Shards as a good little damage thing to do. Enemies and allies that have recently been chilled take 100% more critical damage and heals from us. Like I said, we don't really have one unless we end up decide to go Sleet Storm and go Northern Storm or Permafrost. Or the Impaling Shards. Frozen Armor. Increase our physical and spell resistance by 500 for each Winter Embrace ability slot. We have one here, and we have none on our front bar. Icy Aura. Reduce the effectiveness of snares applied to us by 15%, so this will help us get out of jams a little bit easier because the snares won't be so strong on us with this passive. Piercing Cold. Increase our magic and frost damage by 10%. So this is why I kind of run a frost staff, because we're increasing our damage on our frost staff by 10%. Also the amount of magic damage that it does as well. Now going over into Destruction Staff, since we are running a Destruction Staff, we have Trifocus here. With a fully charged Ice Staff, heavy attack grants us a damage shield that absorbs 5,700 damage. So this is why it's kind of nice to run a Frost Staff, because it will actually help protect us a little bit as we fully charge heavy attack. You do not have to use a fully charged Ice Staff if you don't want to, just to kind of do little quick jabs, but just remember, if you do, you will get a damage shield. You can run a Lightning Staff if that is your desire, but I just like the Frost Staff due to the fact of our previous passives in the Winter's Embrace skill line. Penetrating Magic. This, with a Destruction Staff equipped, our Destruction Staff abilities ignore 10% of enemy spell resistance. So basically this ability will ignore 10% of it, so we'll do a little bit more damage if they have lower spell resistance. Elemental Focus increase the chance to apply elemental status effect by 100%. Since we are running as Frost Staff, we will get a 100% more chance to apply the status effect from that. Ancient Knowledge, with a Ice Staff equipped, we reduce the cost of blocking by 36% and increase the amount of damage we can block by 20%. So we become a little bit more tankier as a healer. That way we can make sure we stay up just in case if our squishy DPS end up dying even. However, they are not squishy this time. A lot of them have a lot more health. But again, this just helps us become a little bit more tankier as a healer and helps us stay up. Destruction Expert here. When we kill an enemy with a Destruction Staff ability, we restore 3,600 magicka. So if we do happen to kill somebody in our Elemental of Blockade, we will get 3,600 magicka back. When we absorb damage using a Destruction Staff damage shield, so with our Frost Staff, we also restore 1,800 magicka. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. So there are a couple ways we can actually get magicka return. So our magicka recovery on here, we have high recovery just as itself, but on top of it, we kill an ally or an enemy in our Elemental of Frost wall, we get magicka back there, and with our heavy attack on a Frost Staff with the damage shield, we also get magicka there. Over into the Restoration Staff. First passive we have here is Essence Draining. We gain Major Mending for 3 seconds after completing a fully charged heavy attack, increasing our healing done by 16%. So, as I was saying earlier, if we can see if we can actually get this crit properly, if we can see if we can get this guy actually buffed a little bit higher, to show you exactly. 31,430 with Major Mending on from a heavy attack. So, if you really want to have a very strong heal for somebody who's at full health, mind you, like I said, full health, heavy attack with a Resto Staff. You can pull off insane heals. 31,000 health is ridiculous amount. If you think that your tank's only going to run like 36k health this patch around, you will basically heal that tank back to full health with one strike. This now, for a passive, also heals yourself or an ally near the target for 45% of the damage inflicted by the final hit of your fully charged heavy attack. So that's why we also want the heavy attack with a Resto Staff, because by heavy attacking with a Resto Staff, we are actually healing our allies as well, or ourselves if we are the ones closest to the enemy. Next passive we have here is Restoration Expert. Increase our healing by 15% on allies under 30% health. So, like I said earlier, we're hitting 31,000 health on a fully health ally. The lower the health somebody is, the stronger that heal is going to be. I haven't gone all the way through on how much, but if we can think about it, increasing that healing by 15% for people who are under 30, just absolutely mental there. Circle of Life. Our fully charged heavy attacks restore 30% more magicka. So if you do struggle with your recovery still at 2,500 magicka recovery, if you still struggle with that, just make sure, as I was saying earlier, make sure you heavy attack with the Resto Staff. You are going to get 30% more magicka back than your Destro. That's why it's important to heavy attack with the Resto Staff. Getting more magicka back, you're healing allies near the target, doing a lot of things with the Resto Staff. Next passive we have is Absorption, or Absorb I should say. Restore 540 magicka when we block a spell. We want to just pretty much, like I said earlier, Destro is a lot stronger, so we want to make sure that we heavy attack with a Frost Staff because we're getting actually more magicka based off of that, but we will get some magicka if we end up blocking with our Resto Staff as well. Restoration Master is our last passive here. Increase healing with Restoration Staff spells by 5%. So that just means is we're having a 5% stronger heals with our Illustrious Healing, Radiating Regeneration, and Combat Prayer. Over into gear and armor, we are running a 5-1-1 ratio. So what that means is I'm wearing 5 pieces of something, 1 piece of another, and 1 piece of another. In this case, we are running 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy. So in light, we did get bonuses to armor, and we also got penalties for wearing certain pieces of armor. So for light armor, since I'm wearing 5, this is technically reduced damage taken from magical attacks by 5%. Since I'm wearing 5 pieces, because this is for each piece of light armor does the following. So we reduce the cost of roll dodge by 3%. You times that by 5, 15%. Reduce the movement speed penalty of sneak by 5% per piece. Reduce the cost of break free by 5, and reduce the cost of bash by 3. Penalties that we have is we increase our damage taken by martial attacks by 1% per piece, so this is 5% there. Increase the cost of block by 3%, and decrease damage done with bash by 1%. Now over into grace, passives that we actually have to buy. So this reduced effectiveness of our snares applied to us by 20%, along with our Winter's Embrace gives us skill line gives us a 15%, so we actually get more than 20. We get 20 plus 15%. Reduce the cost of sprint by 15%. Advocate, we increase our magicka recovery by 20%. Reduce the magicka cost of our abilities by 10%. Spell Ward increases our spell resistance by 3,600. Prodigy increases our spell critical rating by 1,000. Concentration increases our spell penetration by 4,600. Over into medium armor, we get bonuses from medium armor, no penalties. So our bonuses that we get here is reduce the cost of sprint, reduce the cost of sneak, and reduce the cost of blocks. Sprint is 1%, sneak is 5, block is 3. We also reduce damage taken from area of effect attacks by 2% for 2 seconds after a dodge roll. So this only applies if we roll dodge. It does not automatically get applied. We have to roll dodge in order to get reduced damage taken from area effects for 2 seconds. Increase movement speed by 2% while immune to crowd control. So we have to have the whirling white circles around our feet in order to get a movement speed bonus. Dexterity, increase our weapon critical rating by 219. Windwalker, increase our stam recovery by 4% and reduce the cost of our stam abilities by 2%. Agility, increasing our weapon damage by 2%, and athletics, increasing our movement speed bonus of sprint by 3 and reduce the cost of roll dodge by 4%. A lot of you may say, well, we shouldn't really be running medium armor because we are not a weapons master, we are magicka based. Yes, but there are reasons later in the past is why we run a 5-1-1 ratio on top of it too. Even having a nice roll dodge reduction also helps us as a healer because you may have to roll out of danger to get out of the stupid AoEs and stuff. Over into heavy armor, bonuses that we have is reduce damage taken from martial attacks by 1, increase the amount of damage we can block by 1, increase damage done with bash by 3%, and reduce the damage taken while immune to crowd control by 1%. Penalties that we have for this is increase damage taken from magical attacks by 1, reduce the movement speed bonus of sprint by 1, increase the cost of roll dodge by 3%, and increase the size of our detection area while sneaking by 10%. So, for resolve here, we increase our physical and spell resistance by 343, Constitution increases our health recovery by 4%, and we restore 108 magicka and stam whenever we take damage for each piece of heavy armor equipped. That can only happen once every 4 seconds, so every 4 seconds when we get hit, we'll get 108. May not seem a lot, but we will get hit, so it's kind of nice to actually get a little bit of magicka and stam from it. If you are really good and not get hit, then good for you. Juggernaut increases our max health by 2% for each piece of heavy armor equipped. Revitalize, increase our magicka or stam of our heavy attacks restored by 4%. So with our resto staff, we'll definitely add 4% to that on this. So that's why our restoration staff actually has a lot of magicka coming back, is because of this passive here as well. Rapid mending, increasing our healing received by 1%. Over into Fighters Guild, I have Intimidating Presence here just for questing purposes. However, we will want to get Banish the Wicked, because when we do end up killing an enemy, we will get 3 ultimate per enemy we killed. So this is always nice, just in case on the off chance we end up killing something, it's always nice to get ultimate. Over the Mages Guild, we should have Persuasive Will here just for questing purposes. You do not need it, however, I just like it when I'm trying to level up a character. Over in the Undaunted, we have two passives here called Undaunted Command. Activating a synergy restores 4% of our max health, stam, and magicka. So we will get 1,300 health when we activate a synergy, 551 stam, and 1,300 magicka back every time we use a synergy. So get those synergies. They're not just meant for tanks, they're also meant for you as well. Keep your resources up, especially your health and magicka. Those are the most important things. Stam will help with your block and roll dodge as well, so keep everything up. Undaunted Metal here increases our max health, stam, and magicka by 2% per type of armor worn, heavy, medium, and light. This is why we wear at least one medium and one heavy, is because we get a 6%. If we were wearing all light armor, it would only be a 2% bonus. Over in Assault, if you want to, you can get continuous attack here just to get the gain the major gallop of all times just from getting place to place. It also, that part right there really does help. We are running a Guardian. I don't know if you could tell that or not, probably not, but anyways, for races to pick, if you wanted to run a healer, Brenton is a very good choice as a healer. High Elf is a really good choice as a healer. Surprisingly, yes, even a Dark Elf is a really good choice for a healer. I would say any race can play a healer. Though, not all the races are going to play the same. For instance, my Argonian has certain passives in here that help it out probably as a healer more than other races. But I suggest you play the way you want to play. Things are just going to be different. Stats are going to be different. Healing is going to be different. But just keep that in mind. I encourage people running what they like as a race. This is just my idea of a Warden Healer. Run what you like. But as an Argonian, we do get Life Mender, increasing our healing done by 6%. This is why we have also really strong heals, is because of this Life Mender passive. We have our Argonian Resistance, increasing our max health by 1,000 to keep ourselves alive, a really strong and nice passive to have, and our Disease and Poison Resistance by 2,300. So just gives us a little bit of immunity to those resistance a little bit. Not completely immune, we just have a little bit more chance to not get hit as hard from those compared to other races. Resourceful here, this increases our max magicka and max stam. We did get max stam on this current patch. However, we did take a nerf on it. When we drink a potion, we only restore 3,100 health, magicka, and stam. Previous patches, it was a flat 4,000. Over into Alchemy, the most important passive in the game, highly recommend to get it, is Medicinal Use. When we use a potion, results effects last 30% longer. If you do not have this up, your potions on there, you're only going to get major, let's say intellect, major prophecy, whatever you have for effects on your potion are only going to last for 36 seconds. In order to cast your potion again, is only going to be for 45 seconds on a cooldown, so you have downtime of 9 seconds. You got to wait before you get your major buffs on your potions again. Get Medicinal Use, your potions effects last for 47 seconds. So you have a 100% uptime. So get Medicinal Use as quickly as possible, because this is a very strong passive in the game. Now over into Provisioning. I am running the Consier passive here because I am running a drink buff. If you are running a food, then you would want to use Gourmet here, because this will add 20 minutes to the duration of any eaten food. Since I'm using a drink, that's why I went this way, because I want 20 more minutes on any drink I consume. So that's why my drink is basically lasting for 3 hours. Currently it's at 2 hours, but that's why it's there. Now over into skills, or I should say sets. We already went over skills and passive. Over into sets I'm running. So starting off with slottable items, going all the way up into consumable, I am using the Ghastly Eye Bowl. This increases max magicka by 4,500 and magicka recovery by 459 for 2.5 hours. I run this because I don't need to run purple food. I can run blue because I feel like my health is at a good place, because we got more health this patch than on previous patches, so I have more health than what I'm actually used to. So I feel like I can handle just maxing out my magicka and magicka recovery. However, if you feel like you need a health buff, one I would recommend is what we were running last patch, was Witch Mother's Potent Brew, because this will give us max magicka and max health by 3,000. Magicka is at 2,800 and magicka recovery at 315. As you can see, compare from one to the other, you actually get more magicka and magicka recovery on the Ghastly Eye Bowl. For potions, You have a couple choices here. For potions, if it's easier for you to run try restoration potions, ones that you get from daily, by all means I would highly suggest then going for that and using this. Because this will give you major fortitude, major intellect, and major endurance, so increasing our health recovery, magicka recovery, and stam recovery by 30%. For 47 seconds, this is where medicinal kicks in with that 47 seconds. However, you do not need to. If you want to, you can just run a plain Essence of Magicka, Essence of Stam. Though I would highly recommend running Essence of Magicka because we want to get that major intellect because that's increasing our Magicka recovery. However, what I actually like to run on this build right now is this Essence of Magicka because we will restore 7,500 Magicka immediately. We will get major intellect, which increases our Magicka recovery by 30%. On top of it, we also increase our spell resistance by 5,200. This is what makes our spell resistance incredibly high because of this potion right here, along with other abilities that we use to apply our resistance. On top of it, we gain minor protection, reducing our damage taken by 5% for 15 seconds. So a nice little additive bonus if you want to become a little bit more tanky and not take quite as much damage. This is a good potion to pop if you need recovery, if you're going to be taking damage quite heavily. So this is the potion I would highly recommend to run. You do not have to run it, like I said. Try potions or Essence of Magicka are just perfectly fine. Over into gear, I am running on our front bar Restoration Staff of Julianos with the weakening enchantment to reduce target's weapon and spell damage by 320, so that way we can survive a little bit easier against enemies that we hit with this. With the power trait, just increase our healing done, so we got really strong heals since this is our Resto Staff. The Law of Julianos set gives us 641 spell critical, 1000 max magicka, 641 spell critical, and 293 spell damage. It would be 300. A lot of these would be up if everything was golded out. However, I don't have everything golded out, so that's why it's slightly low. This is probably the only weapon I do have golded out, though. You do not need a golded out. Purple quality is just perfectly fine. Over into our back bar with our Ice Staff of Julianos, we have the Crusher enchantment reducing target's physical and spell resistance by 1,400, just because we have our wall of elements, which does damage over time, so this can proc when we are on our front bar. We have the charge trait to increase the chance of applying that status effect of chill to immobilize targets and also give them minor brittle. Next set we are running is Symphony of Blades with the max health enchantment on this. This is a light piece that I have with divine traits because divines is going to give us stronger points on our boon that we are running or our stone. Now with the Symphony of Blades set, we get a 4% healing done added to this. On top of it is when we heal an ally who is under 50% of their primary resources, we grant them Meridian's Favor, which restores 750 magicka or stam every 1 second for 6 seconds. This effect can occur once every 18 seconds per target. So this can happen on separate cooldowns. So Jimmy on our right could be, when we proc it, could all of a sudden then be at 9 more seconds left before he can get it again, and we can then proc it on Timmy over on our left. This is a really nice passive, especially giving resources to our allies. We're going to keep everybody their recoveries up. The resource that they get, though, is based off of their target's highest maximum resource. So if they're a Magicka DPS, they'll get Magicka. If they're a Stam DPS, they'll get Stam. If they're a tank, depending on which one they get, they'll get that. If their Magicka's high, they get Magicka. Stam, you get the point. Over in the chest, we are running Julianos here with the max magicka enchantment with divine traits. Shoulders is Symphony of Blades, max magicka, divine traits. The waist here is Girdle of Julianos, max magicka, divine traits. Hands, our third piece set that we are running is Spell Power Cure with max magicka enchantment, divine traits. Part of Spell Power Cure set. For 2 pieces, we get 1000 max magicka. 3 pieces, we get 1000 max magicka. Again, 4 piece, we get another 124 spell damage. Now, the nice thing about this is for 5 pieces, when you overheal yourself or an ally, you give the target major courage for 5 seconds, increasing their weapon and spell damage by 430. So when we are even healing ourselves, we are getting that spell damage. Now, I know a lot of you are like, well, why don't we just run, let's say, I think I have it here, there, in the feet, there. Why don't we run Olarime? Because Olarime, you know, gives us minor Agnes, it gives us recovery, and when we cast an ability, we create a circle, give everybody major courage for 20 seconds instead of the 5 seconds. But it can only happen every 10 seconds. That's the key there. Olarime can only happen once every 10 seconds. And personally for me, that's a ring on the ground. So you have to cast target. Yes, we have a lot of AoEs, but the thing is, you got to cast it on the ground, and it's a chance that if you're not really good at casting it on the ground, your ally might not step on it. And if you don't step on it, then it just went to waste. And on top of it, you will not get it because you're probably casting it towards the group. You're not casting it while you're within the group. So if you like to kind of play out of bounds, Spell Power Cure helps you tremendously because you can hit it with a regeneration there. Because this will hit up to 28 meters, and if you overheal them, they will get the Spell Power Cure. Now, if you're going to do a trial setup with this, and somebody else is already running Olarime or Spell Power Cure, if the other healer is, what other set should I run? The one that I highly recommend yet to this day is Healer's Habit. Because this gives you more Magicka recovery, gives you that spell damage that we got from Spell Power Cure, and we get 5% healing done, and we get minor mending at all times, increasing our healing done by 8%. So you are going to be the strong healer in the group. You may not be the guy to give everybody all the damage, but you will be the guy to have the strong heals to make sure nobody in the group dies with the Healer's Habit set. Over the legs, we are running Breaches of Julianos with max health enchantment on this, just because I like to have my health staying a little bit higher. Divine Traits, Spell Power Cure Shoes, max Magicka, Divine Traits. Jewelry is Spell Power Cure, with the necklace being spell damage with the healthy trait, just like I said. Wanted to make sure my health was up there so I wasn't really squishy. Even though we got more health this patch, I just still wanted to make sure I had plenty of health. Rings, we have Magicka Recovery with Arcane Trait on both of them, increasing our max Magicka by 847. Now, over into champion points. Starting off in the green tree, we have 20 points into Collided Finger, increasing our gold gain by 2% per stage. Fortune Favor, we got 20 points into that. 15 points into Wanderer. 20 points into Breakfall. 33 points into Soul Reservoir. 10 points into Steadfast Enchantment. 50 points into Treasure Hunter. 30 points into Rationer, just to give us 30 minutes on our eating food or drink, so that's why we're closer to 3 hours on that. And then Liquid Efficiency, so we have a 10% chance not to consume our potions. On top of it, we also have Professional Upkeep, just to reduce the cost of repair of armor by 1%. You do not need to have this. This is just something I like because I didn't really like any of the other slottables here. So if you want to buff up other stuff, you can do so if you don't want any other slottables. Over into the blue tree, our power tree, we have 10 points into Eldritch Insight, granting us 260 max Magicka, 40 points into Bless for more healing done, 50 points into Focus Mending, increasing our healing done with single target heals. We got 50 points into Swift Renewal, increasing our healing done with heal over time effects, since we have a lot of those, and also same with single targets. Soothing Tide, increasing our healing done with area of effect heals. These do stack on because most of the time your area of effects are also heals over time. However, Budding Seeds does count for Focus Mending, since it can technically be a single target heal. And we have 10 points into Precision here, just to give us more critical chance. Yes, I'm not high enough to put more into there, otherwise I would. Same with this one. We have 50 points into Fighting Finesse, just increase our healing damage and critical heals done by 10%. Yes, this is going to make us a lot stronger. And over into here, we have 10 points into Piercing for offensive penetration, 20 points into here, increasing our chance to apply magical status effect by 30%, and 30 points into here for War Maging, granting us 100 weapon and spell damage to magical attacks, affecting Magicka, Flame, Frost, and Shock damage. Magicka does include heals. Over into the red tree, we have 50 points into Boundless Vitality. That's why we also have a lot of health, because of this passive here. Slottable, I should say. We have Rejuvenation, because recovery is important on a healer as well as any other build. We have 40 points into Defiance, just to reduce the cost of Break Free. 45 points into Tumbling, reduce the cost of Roll Dodge, if we need to get out of the way. Mystic Tenacity, this reduces the duration of elemental status effects. 40 points into Survival Instincts, while effective but with a status effect, our core combat skills cost 5% or 20% less. 25 points into Tempted Souls, return to life after resurrection with 5% more resources. And I like Spirit Mastery, just because as a healer you never know when you have to resurrect someone, and it's always nice to have a decreased time to res somebody, so you can maybe pop off a quick res if you can time it properly. There you have it for the Wyress build, or the Flames of Ambition patch. Thank you all for watching. If you guys could, please take a moment of your time to help support my channel by clicking that subscribe button. If you guys really enjoyed the video and want to see more of this content, feel free to smash that notification bell, so that way you guys get notified when I update this build or any other of my other videos, or put other videos on YouTube. You guys can then go over to Twitch and follow me over there. I do stream there regularly, roughly at 6 p.m. Central Time over the weekdays. Now, if you have any questions about the build or things that you want to see, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Or if you have more personal matters, or if you just want to feel more comfortable, leave a comment over at Twitter there. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.